Welcome to episode number 67 About the Cards podcast, live tonight on YouTube. As always, with my host Stephen Loeffler at Junkwax Twins, Ben Wilson at our trading cards, and I'm Tim Shepler at Big Shep 79. We are a podcast by collectors for collectors, hoping to bring you a smart and insightful podcast discussing trading card collecting. We're live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific.
10 Central.
Yeah, we're live on YouTube, Periscope, and Facebook Live. And you can always follow us on Twitter about the cards. We are available as a podcast on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, Overcast, and TuneIn, and a bunch of other places, I believe.
YouTube.
Yeah. Check out our website, aboutthecards.wordpress.com. Find us on the Flip Chat app to talk about the podcast. We love that. We've been in there quite a bit. Mickey's been having some fun with us in there, and it's a good way to converse about cards, and then we have some fun topics in there. And then we also have shirts, hats, and mugs available on Spreadshirt.com. So take a look there. Guys, it's been a week. How have you been? Missed you.
I am ready for tomorrow.
What's tomorrow?
Opening night hockey.
Oh, nice. What do you have? Do you have like a watch party planned, or?
Well, unfortunately, it's just me. The wife's on assignment, making that dollar. And no, I got our lucky puck that we got last year in the stands, prepped and ready. I got my beer koozies for my Crown of Diets, and enjoy the game before the Twins embarrass us again.
So, who are you playing? Who are you dropping the puck against?
I don't know. That's probably a good question, huh?
My Edmonton Oilers dropped the puck tonight against the Vancouver Canucks. And the last I checked, it was 1-0. Dradistal with a goal. First goal of the season. I totally just butchered his last name, but I know his name's Leon. Draisaitl. There we go. Ben, what have you been up to? I know you're intently watching the 5-1 Oakland A's Tampa Bay Rays game in the bottom of the eighth.
You know what? You could just stop, okay? Listen.
Who are you gonna? Now that your season's over, who are you gonna go with in hockey here? Golden Knights.
Listen, there's still 5 outs to go in a 4-run game. Technically, it's not over. So,
I mean, the Nationals came back last night, so it's possible, not probable.
Exactly, and Juan Soto was talking about his mom being in town and having a home-cooked breakfast. My guys are at home. They had some eggs and bacon this morning. They'll be all right.
So you cooked them a home-cooked breakfast this morning?
They're just waiting for the 9th inning with 2 outs before their bats come alive.
Why are they doing I saw people just doing the Braves chop. What?
I don't know. They've been doing that in Oakland sometimes this year, and it's weird.
Why? That's just
weird.
That just tells you the level of Oakland A fan. There you go. Profar striking out.
So anyway,
Nick Anderson, the former King, pitching tonight for an Orlando Magic star, pitching tonight for the Rays. Second career.
Every time I hear our theme song with that song, I just feel like I'm Fred Rogers and I should put on a cardigan. I just feel like our show should be airing on PBS.
Hey, so have you seen the movie real quick? Before I know we're off on a crazy tangent to start, but last night I watched the movie Between Two Ferns, the Zach Galifianakis Netflix movie. He meets Chrissy Teigen, and he asks her how she became famous, and she goes, well, back in 2003, this man shows up at my door with a box with a button and says, if I push the button, all my wildest dreams will come true, but someone will die. So I pushed the button, and Mr. Rogers died. I mean, he lived a good life. He did something, but now and I was dying. I'm like, oh, my God, she killed Mr. Rogers. But, hey, it's Chrissy Teigen. She's hot. We're okay with that, right?
Yeah, it's true, though.
Man. I mean,
he lived a good life.
Yeah.
It's true.
Once a couple wants to know when the pitchers and catchers report. Yeah.
February.
I think that his manager's going to report in Anaheim.
Usually right around Angela's birthday, February 17th, 21st, somewhere in there.
Yeah, you don't know what day her birthday is. Her
I know
birthday
her
falls between those dates.
I know it's on the 17th, but
Oh, so you have Valentine's Day and then the birthday. Do you just combine them?
and she's allergic to metal, and she's allergic to flowers, and she's allergic to chocolate.
No, it's a good thing she's not allergic to BS. Otherwise,
Or cardboard. God forbid. Let's get into it, guys. The week that was last week's releases, that was a fun intro. Topps Living Week 81, not the worst week we've ever had. Card 241 CC Sabathia, pitcher, New York Yankees, sold almost 2,900. Card 242 Tuki Toussaint, rookie pitcher of the Atlanta Braves, just a tad over 2,200. And card 243 Mikael Franco, third baseman, Philadelphia Phillies, 2,200. So yeah, check out at Topps Living Stat for a full breakdown of where these cards fall, respectively, in the set by team and by position. And also, too, if you're looking to pick cards up for this week, I know that he'll have them available. So I don't even want to talk. This was a trash week. So
yeah, it was an odd week, and obviously CC got a little bit of a bump, I'm sure, because of his final Yankee Stadium start. This set's just trending down. It really will be interesting to see how the third year comes into it, because anyway.
Yep. We also had 2019 Panini Donruss Football Factory set drop, 2019 Topps Heritage Minor League Baseball, 1819 Upper Deck Clear Cut Hockey, 1920 Upper Deck Artifacts Hockey, 2019 Chrome, Topps Chrome Sapphire Baseball, 2019 Upper Deck Tim Hortons Hockey, 2019 Panini National Treasures Baseball, which, hey guys, I just saw the checklist today for that. And 2019 Panini Illusions Football. Yeah. So real quick though, how do you have a release of a ultra high-end product, probably one of your most high-end products of the year, and it takes over a week to get the checklist out?
Just let it happen.
Hey, let me ask you a quick question. Who makes that product?
Panini. I was about to say Subway because they make sandwiches too.
Okay, I was just curious because I was thinking
there's going to be more of that. I'm spoiler. There's going to be more of that later in tonight's show. So
yeah, if it was a reputable company that was concerned with getting checklists in a timely manner to their potential consumers, but yeah,
but they're just going to buy it anyway blindly because it says National Treasures on it.
Of course, National Treasures is hideous this year.
Oh, it's 1990 Fleer hideous.
I mean, I
look more white
than
1990 Fleer.
I look forward to the set every year, and
hello.
I've added so much to my eBay watch list, and then as it's coming up, it's just like, you know what? I really don't want to buy that. So,
yeah. No, I can't understand. Anyway, so hot off the presses, this week's new releases, Topps Living for week 82, card 244, Honus, the Hall of Famer shortstop from the Pittsburgh Pirates, Wagner, looks like an old wrinkled raisin. Card 245, Zach Plesac, rookie pitcher for the Cleveland Indians.
Can I just say he looks weird?
He does. He looks like super wrinkly too.
Kind of looks like Donkey Kong.
How so?
It just looks like overly furry. And maybe it's just a poor picture, but
you need to stop playing video games, dude.
Real quick, is that Dan Plesac's son by chance?
So.
I would imagine.
I to be honest, I've never heard of him before. I saw this tweet.
Sure. So I think they were talking about during one of the Cleveland Twins broadcasts. They're talking about how it's nice to see a Plesac in the game again with Dan Plesac.
It's a Plesac to have a Plesac.
Indeed.
So, I have to admit, when I saw the Wagner, my favorite three cards in this set are Ted Williams, Ralph Kiner, and now this Honus Wagner.
Well, the Ralph Kiner was a terrible looking card, and this Honus is not good either.
He's a nephew of.
Oh, nephew. Okay.
Your mom, dude.
And then card 246, Match Gravner, catcher, Minnesota Twins.
Keep underrated.
Oh.
Mitch
The Washington-
Garver. Sorry,
the
Mitch
Washington
Garver
Senators.
from the Washington Senators. Yes.
I love the catcher's mask here. I mean, this is the best looking, one of the better looking cards since Real Muto. I love the catcher's masks included in some of these catcher cards.
Yeah, you know, and he's the best Twins catcher since Terry Steinbach.
At least.
Right?
Well, Suzuki was there too for a while.
Yeah, but I would say
You guys are
Terry
different.
Steinbach or even Brian Harper.
You guys are disrespecting AJ Pierzynski.
Yeah, I was about to say,
No,
what
I
about
don't like.
Brzezinski?
He would have eaten the Giants. So
Thanks for that trade, by the way.
yeah. 2019 Topps Archive Signatures Retired Player Edition comes out today. $50 a pack, 1 pack per card, 1 pack per box, 1 card per pack. You're going to get 1 buyback autograph.
And that's all that needs to be said.
It's an original Topps card from the past that has been signed. The autographs come on card. And they're each typically numbered and given a foil stamp signifying.
Lying is the word.
Good Lord, it's from this release.
Can you say that word again?
Amazing. I think he got muted, Tim.
Did he?
I was coughing there, so yeah. Signifying this release. Typically, these signing for the sets sign a lot of different cards, so they're not all the same card. And the buybacks are for various sets and years. And the base cards can be also inserts cards or food cards or kind of any Topps card that's ever been out. And occasionally they'll have a memorabilia card in there. So
I was talking to a newer guy who's been doing some case breaking that has hooked me up with some really good deals on some Ace cards recently. And we were talking in private. I won't mention who it is, but I said, hey, what else do you have on the horizon? And he's like, I was going to bust some National Treasures. He goes, I thought about maybe doing some Archives signature. And I'm like, stop. Whatever you don't. And we were talking a little bit more about it. And then he ends up hitting me up. He goes, hey, thanks for giving me that heads up on that. He goes, I think I'm going to skip Archives. And I'm just like, Leonardo DiCaprio GIF clap, slow clap of Dwight from The Office. It's like, good choice. Save your money. This is a bad product. If you're buying it for breaking purposes, you're not going to get your money back.
yeah, no.
Wouldn't be a bad one to pick one up, here or there. I mean, depending on who's on the checklist. I mean, yeah, sure, you're not going to get the Hank Aaron, but there's probably, 10, 20 Burt Bly 11s. There's probably 10 or 20 Andre Dawsons. There's
Probably
it's a decent
1,000. Real quick, I saw Juan Gonzalez. If you send him a card, he'll sign it for you.
So we'll see. Here's the thing. I've picked up a couple of them. In fact, I was just looking at going back to National Treasures for a minute. I'll tie this back to Archives in just a moment. I typed in Raleigh Fingers. Now, without being a knucklehead, when you think Raleigh Fingers, what team do you think of?
San Diego Padres.
Exactly, right?
No,
So-
the Oakland A's.
So you're going to think the A's. Now, if you're buying a product that's $500 where you're getting 8 cards, right? You need to get $50 a card to get your money back, at least, right?
And that's
Now,
deals.
if you were to pull a Raleigh Fingers, he doesn't sell for that much. But if it was an Oakland A's, at least you're going to maximize the value. And there's a couple that are A's, and then there's a Brewers. And I'm just like, a couple years ago when this product first came out, Archive Signature, there was all kinds of Padres and Brewers buybacks or whatever you want to call this product. And I'm like, those just aren't going to sell. People who are Raleigh Fingers, who already has a small market anyway, are going to be looking for the A's for that particular player. Nobody's going to want to buy a 1983 Topps Raleigh Fingers Brewers card. Come on. I mean,
didn't he win the Cy Young there?
I don't recall, but that's irrelevant. I mean, you just don't have a lot of Brewers people probably buying Raleigh Finger stuff. He's not a Brewers legend. And so it would be like Ken Griffey Jr. having a White Sox card. I mean, who's out there going, hey, I'm going to spend really good money. It's going to devalue the product even more with the cards that Topps selects. I don't understand it.
Yeah. I don't understand the release. Anyway,
It's just bad. Yeah, it's a bad product, and then they further exasperate it by doing crap like that.
All right, so you have to spend your money on buying this retired players TTM
Panini Chronicles.
No. Or Panini Contenders Collegiate Basketball that we talked about last week.
Is it my money or not?
Your money. Gun to your head to save your family's life. You have to spend your money on one of those two products.
I would buy a case of Spam.
No, you got to pick one of the two.
Is death my other option?
Yes.
Well, it's cheaper and more effective.
Just like Mr. Rogers, somebody's about to push the button on me. Listen, it's been a good run, boys.
Somebody?
Steph, I have an idea for next week's show. Panini Contenders
about to get worn out.
Panini Contenders Draft Picks Baseball drop today. It's $120 a box, 6 packs per box, 18 cards per pack. You're gonna get 6 autographs, 1 parallel. See, it's a I think it's a 600 card base set or 60 card base set. Sorry, but I don't know 100% because there's no checklist.
I was about to say, is there a checklist?
No, I've read in somewhere it's a 60 card base set, which more than doubles the size from 2019. It's prospects to retired Hall of Famers, season ticket cards, show players in their college uniforms.
Can they get a different photo of Reggie Jackson? Because I've seen that one like 10 times already.
Well, it's the only one they own.
Well, that's the thing, yeah. They've used the same Mark McGuire one for like 17 years.
Yes. The draft 2019 draft class is covered extensively with the RPS rookie draft tickets autographs, and they're on card for many of the players. It's the first time. Most of the players in the first 3 rounds, so you're going to get some key draft picks. I would name them, but I don't quite know who's on the checklist since it came out today and there is no checklist. So.
I mean, this sucks, dude. I mean, McGuire's been in this product in the past a couple of times, and I collect McGuire. I think I would like to know if he's on this checklist because I'm a buyer, right?
Yep.
I can only imagine. I can only imagine people that are more vested into a product like this, and their level of frustration. Mine would be minimal because I'll eventually see one if there is one, but that's not the point. I mean, it's talked about this time and time again. If you get paid this week and this product's coming out, do you set money aside for this product or do you hold it for next week's products? Yeah. You have no idea.
I like how it says use our free checklist. Steph's on the Panini website page to check the checklist and says use our free checklists. Bro, like
for what? Like you print out a blank piece of paper and use it to like color your own in or something?
And it's not even listed in there. Like
it will be. It will be. Check back in December.
Yep. We also had 2018-19 Panini Immaculate basketball drops Friday. $580 a box, 1 pack per box, 6 cards per pack. You're going to have 3 autographs, a mem card. It has some base cards in it, I believe. I don't know. There's no checklist yet. It's a high-end release focused on autographs and varying memorabilia. The big chase cards are also obviously the RPAs, the rookie patch autographs. These have on-card signatures that go with a premium swatch, but they're also using acetate stock this year. They're also going to have dual, triple, and quad autos in the release. There are 40 key rookies. They get the Logo Man 1-of-1 autographs. And this is the only 2018-19 NBA product to feature dual Logo Man autographs. So they'll have 2 NBA rookies with Logo Man's. So it's a sharp looking product. Don't get me wrong. But again,
so whether it's up here.
Let's look because I looked right before the show. That's Immaculate Collegiate.
Is that not what that was?
No, it's NBA. It's 18-19.
19.
No, 18-19. There you go. Because that's a different year, and Immaculate's not even listed. So, yep, trust me, I checked right before. And also this week, 2019 Score Hockey released today online, $14.99 a pack, or you could get 5 packs for $50. But it's sold out. So It's 2 cards per pack. The pack break's going to get you a 1-score rookie card and 1 parallel autograph of Kako or Vitaly Krostov.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
those are embarrassing attempts, but
Okay, what are their names?
we want to go to the show notes.
You don't even know who the guys are, and that's embarrassing.
You can't make fun of him if you don't even know what their names are yourself. How do you know he's pronouncing them wrong?
Are you guys sharing the screen?
No.
All right.
Capo, and then Vitaly something or other. It's Panini's first hockey release in 5 years. It will be released direct-to-consumer product. It's a direct-to-consumer product available through iCollectPanini.com. But like I said earlier, it is sold out. It features the Rangers rookie star, Kako, the second overall pick.
You know, if you guys have played any of the Final Fantasy series, there's a character in that set that has a very similar catchphrase, Kupo, the Muggles.
I'm not a nerd.
The gamers will know what I'm talking about. Anyway,
as a kid, I lived outside.
That's all his name reminds me of.
But it's right anyway. And then Vitaly, whatever. Vitaly Potapinko was also in there, and he's their a talented rookie teammate, and he was the ninth pick of the 2018 draft. Both of these guys are exclusive Panini guys, and they will not have autographs in Upper Deck products. And so this is basically Panini's big FU to Upper Deck, saying, "Hey, we have these 2 guys, and you don't." And whatever. And people. When people first saw these packs, they were excited. They're like, "Oh God, we're going to get some score hockey, cards back." And the fact that it's 1 rookie card and a parallel or base card or an autograph of one of these 2 guys, I think a lot of people were let down. So,
I mean, one of these should be a pretty good hit. I know he's supposed to. Kako is supposed to make a huge impact this year, but for a quote unquote unlicensed release. We'll see.
Yep. Real quick, I saw Bean's post here. I like I tweeted today, Panini is always 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Wasn't that a Paul Abdul song?
Yeah. Is that the one where she danced with the Chester Cheetah dude?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chester Cheetah's older brother. Mm-hmm.
That was Opposites Attract, dude.
Opposites Attract. Anyway, 2019 Panini NFL 5 trading card game comes out Friday. It's $150 for a starter deck. That's going to get you a 55 card deck. You're going to get 10 decks. And the way those break out, 5 parallels. You're going to get 2 punch-out game cards and 1 rule book and play mat. You can also pick up a booster pack for $96, which is 90 cards per pack, 24 packs per box. You're going to get 6 parallels, 4 epic cards, and 1 legendary and or rookie card. There are 316 cards to the game. Each team has 8 players. It's devised for players 9 years or older. The game itself takes about half an hour to play, and it's rated as an intermediate card game. The cards are broken down into common, uncommon, and rare editions. The tougher cards, the epics, are 4 in every booster box and 1 legendary per box. You will field 10 players. 5 offense and 5 defense to score more. Who scores more points? So it's kind of a neat game, I guess. I think collectors might find it a way to go and collect some cards in a different way. But,
you know what this reminds me of, though?
What's that? Magic?
MLB Showdown.
Oh yeah. Yep. I always find those in junk boxes. So.
What? No first edition?
Yeah, where's first off
you
the
think
line?
that you think that the obvious with a trading card game product would be to run out a first edition parallel,
right?
I mean, it prints money.
The A's are down to their last 2 outs of the season.
So Tim is quoting Paul Abdul lyrics. Yeah. Steph's on here talking about Final
Fantasy
Mist or Magical Mystery Tour.
But I mean, at what point with 15 games in the series is it actually the Final Fantasy?
Well, it's a subjective term, I suppose. All right.
And the A's are going to be down to their last out of the season.
And this is when they are going to rally. Watch. Watch.
Is that Heesop Troy playing first base for the
I
Rays?
believe so.
Yeah, why not?
He's only got to be 800 years old, right?
Travis Lee is injured.
Screw Travis Lee.
Oh,
Unrelated.
he wasn't even good in the major leagues. Why do you even care?
Because he scorned us
Oh, God.
Oh my
in
goodness.
the draft.
By the way, these are the A's uniforms they should always wear.
Yes.
Yeah, we can get back to card discussion about how the Oakland A's should move to Seattle, but we'll talk about that later. What's
And the
brewing
Rays
next
for
week's
Nashville?
releases? 2019 Topps Clearly Authentic Baseball and 2019 Panini Impeccable Football drop next week. Just 2 releases. Enfield chatter. All right, you guys ready? Our hobby talk section.
Nope. Section.
Yeah. Cheap Fun Breaks tweeted out, based on these numbers, Sapphire baseball base are limited to 1,000 this year, and they were out of 250 in 16, 17, and 18. So this is the most they've ever made of the product. We talked about how last week people were thinking about getting 4 or 5x of what the boxes were.
Yeah.
But the fact is, there's 4 times this product that there was than last year, and then we see the prices of last year's singles, and you can pick them up for almost near nothing now, right? So just the time on this is just going to be, I guess, to wait it out.
That's what I'm thinking. I've made a couple offers on some team sets, and it's still higher than I'd like to be. And he responds saying, I can get this amount for veterans. And then I'm thinking, nah, maybe some of them. But when there's 22 guys, you're not going to get $2 to $3 on everyone. You're going to sell maybe half of them,
Sure.
and then you're going to get stuck with all the guys nobody wants. And if you're doing that for every team, out of 700 cards, you're going to get stuck with half of them. So,
Yes. No, I think the wait and see thing on that is probably the best bet. I don't know. I mean, they're cool. I think the cards will be harder to get are going to be the rookie cards, and there goes the
Probably.
there's the Rays
Especially
advance.
the numbered ones.
Yes, but I mean that's the case. That's the case any year, right? With any rookie card.
yeah, but
Especially
a lot
the
of it right
top
now,
ones.
I think with this set, regardless of if those numbers are accurate and they did make 4 times more this year, it got the hype because of what happened with them selling out in 4 minutes or 7 minutes, depending on who you listen to, and the fact that they were selling for $200 for $50 boxes. And I think this is right now, there's a lot of hype. I don't know how much of this stuff is actually selling. And I think that we can all agree the consensus is going to be just sit tight and prices should come down.
Yeah.
So, random aside, we should have Cracknell on when he has some free time and he's back from Disney.
Yeah, he had
And
a walk
have
there,
him
by the way, if you guys didn't know, he walked.
and have him explain the following skill test question. Not so much to school us on what the answer is, but more so why they have it and the legalities thereof.
We should have Ryan on anyway again because Ryan is awesome, and he was on one of our first shows.
Episode 12. He was our first ever guest.
It's been so long, and
we've done 55 episodes since he's been on.
Yeah, see, that's unacceptable. We should invite him back on.
Who's putting this shit together?
ASAP as possible.
Yes. 2019 Transcendent Collection was announced late last week. It's going to release on November 17th. And it's 100 boxes this year. 2016, there were 65. 2017, there were 87. 2018, there were 83. So they're gone up to 100 this year. It's a 50-card base set. You're going to get 2 50-card sets of the franchise favorite reproductions. I'm sorry, you're going to get the 50-card base set and a 50-card set of the franchise favorite reproductions. You're also going to get 50 Transcendent collection autos, at least 2 one-of-ones, and every auto is numbered to 25 or less.
So 2.5 one-of-ones.
1 Derek Jeter one-of-one auto, 1 auto patch, or bat knob or nameplate card that's a 1-of-1. 1 Transcendent franchise favorite sketch cards, which is a 1-of-1. 1 oversized cut signature card, which is a 1-of-1, and a 1953 Superfractor auto. Of course, that's a 1-of-1. You're also going to get 1 MVP invite to the Transcendent party with Ken Griffey Jr. So they've had Trout, Chris Bryant, Hank Aaron have been the guests. Bryant was 16, Aaron was 17, and Trout was last year. And so now they're going to Griffey.
Well, and they kind of went in previous years as far as the amount of boxes. The first one was the amount of years the Topps have existed at the point. Then the next 2 years, they went with iconic designs, so 83 and 87.
Yeah, they were the anniversaries of those two.
And now I think going forward, they'll probably just pump out 100 boxes per. Would make logical sense.
Yeah. And then, so, I mean, it's only a $25,000 product. I think Ben's in for at least a few boxes.
I was going to buy half of them.
Yeah.
And then what I was going to do is I was going to use my new motto where it's buy high and sell low. I was going to start go 4 times lower on the secondary market. So I was guaranteed to lose money because why not?
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're going to get a chance to meet Ken Griffey Jr., is there really a sell low?
I just asked him what he did, if that nap was true in Seattle.
I don't know that if to be honest, I don't know that Ken Griffey Jr. is a selling point for me personally. I don't know that man has that much of a curb appeal. He doesn't seem like he would be all that knowledgeable and very interesting to talk to.
See, I'm just surprised the Topps actually got them. In that, wasn't he a Upper Deck exclusive for a long while?
Yeah, but he's been back with Topps for a little while.
I mean, could you imagine if you had an opportunity to speak with a Hank Aaron type player, right? Somebody that is rich with history, who lived through dark times in our history, pre-integration and things like that, right? I mean, these he's got stories to tell. Ken Griffey Jr. is going to tell us about what? I just every time I
to be the first overall pick to be a Hall of Famer ever,
compared to Chris Bryant.
Can he eloquently speak on that? I mean, every time I've heard that man in an interview, it just seems like, seriously?
But not all athletes are going to sit there and be intelligent human beings. Let's be honest.
But that's the thing. If I'm paying $25,000 to get this golden ticket, I'd at least like an athlete that I can sit there and have
I got a golden ticket.
It seems like the old Chris Farley and Paul McCartney. You're a Beatle, huh? Yeah. Cool. It's like.
So who do you want there? I mean, so say it was Liam Hendricks. Oh, he's a genius. Say he's a genius. And it's like, I could have a great conversation with Liam Hendricks, or I could meet Ken Griffey Jr. More people are going to go, I want to meet Ken Griffey Jr. versus Liam Hendricks.
Yeah, but you're just throwing out an arbitrary rando name.
Okay, but
Ryan Healy.
Anyway. At fam_den put out a poll this week. He sent a tweet, and I thought it was really interesting. Hashtag collect fam. I just sold a card on eBay, a very cheap card, mind you. The buyer paid immediately and proceeded to send me an email with full of what comes across as ultimate rights with the instructions about how the exact condition, packaging, shipping the buyer expects.
Across.
So he gets an email saying exactly what he expects the seller to do, which is the guy that sends out the tweet. He asked what he should do. There were 237 votes. His options were ignore, give him what he wants, cancel the transaction, send him my own demands. So I selected send him my own demands. I got 22% of the vote. Give him what he wants was 8%. Ignore was 29%, which is also a good option. And then 42% of the vote, people went with cancel the transaction.
Yep.
The best part about this was he followed up. He's tweeted out note. Now the dude wants to change the address to ship it to him. That's always a bad sign when you sell something to somebody and then they need the address changed after the fact.
That's an automatic. That's an automatic cancel. I'm sorry. You're not going to dictate to me how something should be shipped. I understand we all are very particular and we all complain about how things have been shipped and use tape, don't use tape, all the nuances that we've all encountered. but you're not going to give me, hey, it needs to be shipped this way. I am the shipper and you are the buyer. Plain and simple. And all you're doing, if you end up shipping this to the guy, even if you ship it the way he asks, you're asking for either negative feedback or a chargeback.
Yep.
Yeah. And I've had people when I've sold stuff have said, hey, can you make sure that I get the tracking information when you send it? You know, and if you do it right, you do it through eBay, it automatically sends them an email with all the tracking stuff. So, it's like, okay, I look and I go, okay, no big deal because it's already going to happen.
Right.
And so that's the most I've ever had. I haven't had anybody come back and say like, it needs to be this or this way or that way. Or if it's been PWE, people have asked, hey, would you mark that it's been shipped? And, that's easy enough to do. So
it sounds like somebody that's trying to perpetrate mail fraud. Are we sure it's not that dude J-Mac?
Right, our buddy. There was also somebody else put a poll out today or this week about baseball collectors. And do you have Panini cards? Do you have or want Panini cards in your collection? And I just kind of wanted to go through and, do you have Panini baseball cards in your collection, Ben?
Yeah, I've got a lot.
Yeah, I know Steph does, and I don't seek them out now. Just due to the fact that I find like the Donruss and stuff is very lame and boring to me because almost exactly the same. There were years where I was going through some recently, and damn near they looked the same. The only thing the difference was the year was instead of being on this side now was on this side. It was a different year, and it.
Relatedly, with 17 hours left, you want to pop me?
Yeah.
Buddy Crack and Wax posting up, what would you say if we never broke Panini America baseball products again?
Yeah, I'm right there. It's about time.
It's one of those things that to speak to Topher, who's Crack and Wax, his point, yeah, I can see people that buy into breaks not liking it, whether it be for the checklist, the non-licensed stuff, the return. If that's how you choose to collect your cards, if that's the part of the hobby you choose to be in, where you're buying with the intent to resell and make money, Panini's just not for you. If you're a collector who collects with the intent to, I'm going to buy and add it to my collection, and a lot of Panini cards are really good looking. They don't necessarily need it, but that's a personal preference as far as the license goes. But it's one of those things, depending on your perspective, will determine how you answer it. I enjoy collecting A's cards, and Panini cards, Leaf cards are non-licensed, but they're still A's cards nonetheless. And I'm okay with it personally. But if I was spending a lot of money with Crack and Wax or any other breaker, and I'm looking to get a return, I probably steer clear of Panini only because it doesn't have the same level of return and longevity in the hobby, and people aren't seeking it. Even somebody like yourself, Tim, if there's good-looking Panini non-licensed George Brett cards, I would imagine you're less likely to buy them, all things being equal, even if they're 30% less than a Topps version.
Yeah, no, I the only way I have any of those is if they've been sent to me in a trade or someone's like, hey, here. I don't seek them out anywhere anyway. I just once a couple years I put this up, I don't buy Panini boxes, hobby or blasters, but I'll pick them out of a dime or quarter box at shows. Probably the best way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I buy singles, I buy team sets. Get into an occasional break just if it's cheap enough for me to get my team set out of it, and then maybe a hit or two.
Yeah, the one thing is interesting to me is that Doug from Mojo Break has always said that with Topps cases, you can get a hot case, like where multiple boxes will have the big rookies, stars, autographs, whatever you're looking for, the chase guys, they'll be more frequently. Topps will have a little more loaded box, but if you open a Panini box, say this year of a Panini football product, and you pull a Kyler in the first box, that was the Kyler for that case. They're very strategic about not having two Kylers in one case.
That's weak.
I know, but that's how, that's just kind of, he goes, after years of doing this, he's seen that time in and time out, where once you hit that big guy in the autograph, then that's it. You got one, but you're not gonna see another one in that case. So
It shouldn't be like that. It should be, what's that word? Oh, random.
Yeah.
It should be random enough to where, maybe there's going to be a case that doesn't have any, and there's going to be a case that has 3.
I don't know. So real quick, and not that I'm bashing anybody here tonight, but I just kind of want to highlight some points we talked about. There's a company that doesn't have checklists out when the product releases. They don't have multiple random autographs of stars. Okay. Once you hit a big star, that's the only one from the case. And 3, they insert points instead of autographs for their site, which are autographs that they've had laying around the office or sent back or whatever things they couldn't do with. So that's 1, that's 2, that's 3 strikes, right? You're out the old ball game. I don't know.
Here's a quick point on it, though. Before we started this podcast, one thing that we all agreed upon was that we wanted to maintain full transparency and be able to speak openly and freely. And in doing so, we weren't going to take on sponsors, or if we did, sponsors would have to understand that we still reserve the right to speak our minds at any given point. And over the last couple of weeks, we've been favorable of some things Panini's done. I know I've specifically spoken about the fact that I think a lot of their football products this year are beautiful, and they've come out with some really nice products. This week, we're talking about them. Some of these topics we've talked about before, like the checklists. Bottom line is, you're failing across the board in multiple areas. And as collectors, regardless of how you choose to collect, whether you're collecting for your personal collection, you're collecting to get a return, or even investing, it's irrelevant. The bottom line is, you're dropping the ball as a manufacturer. You're not giving the collectors of all levels, all of your consumer segments, what they want. It's not too much to ask, right?
Yeah. I mean, what do you think, Steph?
That's certainly fair. And I know that they're trying their best, but on the checklist perspective, they certainly should have that out. There's no excuse. It doesn't take long to publish a PDF and have it up on the website. It's an Excel spreadsheet, so not even PDF.
You said they're trying their best. That reminds me of a line from The Rock with Sean Connery and Nicolas Cage. When Nicolas Cage says he's going to try his best, and Sean Connery says, "Your best, only losers try their best. Winners go home and the prom queen."
I made the prom queen.
Because Carla was the prom queen.
Yeah.
It's like, your best. You're not trying your best. You're hanging out at the water cooler all day with other people are at their workstation getting work done. Come on.
So one of our buddies, and I hope he's still here, Chris Torres, tweeted out earlier this week, while sorting his cases of 2019 Topps Heritage Minor League. It's always great when you are sorting and you see the different paper stock that's used to make a set of baseball cards. Mm-hmm. Hashtag small things, hashtag the hobby. And I found this crazy because, I mean, he broke, I want to say a handful of cases at least. And he's going through and here's 2 rows of a tall box, of a shoe box. And every so often it goes from a white stock to a really dark gray stock, a thick, probably 6-8 cards, and it goes throughout. And it's just disappointing, right? When you line it up, it should all look the same, uniform color, size, shape.
Well, so 2 things. One, it kind of looks like a case of 1990 score, and that, like, here's the reds, here's the greens, here's the purple. But 2, if you're at all familiar with 1970 Topps, the base set itself, sometimes the cardstock on the back would be much brighter or much darker than the regular cardstock. Now, I'm not saying that this is intentional, but yeah, it should certainly be the same if it's fresh off the press in 2019 with advanced technology.
Yeah,
you would think. No, it's cool to see. Yeah,
you would think. Yeah. So real quick, I just want to point out we're equal opportunity bashers on this show, and we're also equal opportunity supporters. So, and so that's just, I don't know, just disheartening a little bit. I don't understand.
To borrow a phrase from a Friends episode, not your life makes me sad, or your job makes me sad, but your cardstock makes me sad.
If that was let's say that Steph had one of those colors and we had one of those colors, not that it would absolve it necessarily, but he being in Texas and we being in California, two different distributors, different runs, etc. But Chris is opening up a couple of cases. I don't know how many cases he opened, but they're in the same run.
Yeah.
That's not acceptable in the same run. I could understand if somewhere along the line something changed at the printer, or if they have multiple, distributors, type, something to do with the printing process. But within the same cases, that's unacceptable.
Yeah.
Should be.
So let me ask you this, Steph. Are those variations now? Do you need them both?
Don't get me started.
Please.
And yes.
National Hobby Shop Day returns in December. Sports Collectors Daily posted a nice article about it, scheduled for December 7th, where participating stores offering prizes, promotions, and sometimes even free food and drink. It's the third year for the promotion, which is designated to spur traffic to brick and mortar stores that sometimes see a lull between Black Friday weekend and the week before Christmas. So over 100 shops participated last year in the promotion, and a list of shops will be available later this fall. GTS Distribution is once again serving as the main primary sponsor. Shops that purchase certain cases and boxes from GTS will see bonus merchandise that they can use as giveaways the day of the event. Among the items stores will give away will include autographed jerseys and other signed items, unopened boxes, trading cards, storage supplies, and eBay gift certificates. PSA is also offering a Silver Collectors Club membership this year. So go out and support your LCS if you're lucky enough to have one, and you're lucky enough to have an amazing one. You should go out and support it anyway, any certain day of the week, but especially if they're doing a little promotion, go out and say hey and support.
So minor point of contention here, and with the 100 shops that participated, I just hope that, unlike in years past in certain promotions, that you actually get a brick and mortar store that actually is a brick and mortar, and it's not just some guy selling out of the back.
Oh, the warehouse.
Yeah, out of like a warehouse. People that are certain known trimmers in the hobby.
Oh,
not that happened
or
in the Arlington, Dallas, Texas region, but
that's where all the trimmers and scammers and cheaters are, right?
Most of them, apparently.
Yeah. Steph hangs out with them. You guys have meetings?
Shit.
So we just witnessed the A's falling to the Tampa Bay Rays.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. Good season though. Something to build on, right?
No, I mean they're young, and if they stay healthy, they're starting rotation next year with Luzardo and Puck and Manaea and Montaz and Fires, and Chris Bassett had a hell of a year, and he's not even going to be in their 5-man rotation if everybody was healthy. And they got a lot of guys in the minor leagues to flip for bullpen help, assuming that there's any out there. And they've got a core of guys. I mean, when you've got guys like Seth Brown and Sean Murphy and Sheldon Noisy and these guys are getting at bats in big time September games. These are guys that weren't on the radar to be playing this year at the major league level. I mean, that's exciting as an A's fan. So they'll be back next year. It's just, it's disappointing, but good for the Rays. They had the league's lowest payroll. If the A's and Rays payroll was combined, they would be the 13th highest paid team in all of majors, which says something to both teams and how they've built those teams. And the simple fact that the Rays hoodwinked the Pirates in that Chris Archer trade when they got Meadows and Glasnow and
Baz, Shane Baz, who's not even up yet.
I mean, talent.
Good for the Rays. I'll be rooting for them up against the Astros, and I'll be rooting for the Twins up against the Yankees. Unfortunately,
I mean, it's just unless you're like born in New York or born in Los Angeles, you kind of have to root for the underguy after your team's been eliminated, right?
Well, we're going to talk about that. So I agree with you. Who is we have a little World Series prediction. Steph, what's your World Series prediction?
So, assuming the Twins don't make it, because I'm going to root for my team regardless.
Mm-hmm.
I want a series not of...
You want Yankees Dodgers, be honest.
Shit. That's the exact opposite of what I want. No, I want. I'm expecting the Astros and Dodgers to make it, but I'd love to see the Astros Braves or Twins Brewers.
I'm confused. The Brewers can't make it. They lost yesterday.
Would have liked to.
What is your World Series prediction right now?
Twins Dodgers.
And the Twins winning.
Well, duh.
Okay. Ben, what's yours?
Unfortunately, it's the one everybody's going with, which is the Astros Dodgers.
Well, you told me A's Dodgers.
I did tell you that.
World Series champions. I'm just gonna let everybody know.
No,
the pick's already out.
It's unfortunate. I was telling my dad last night that I would have loved to see the Nationals and Brewers in the NLCS. Just because both teams haven't won a series. It's unfortunate that they had to play yesterday in the 1-game playoff. I'm going to root for the Nationals because I really don't want any of the other teams in the National League to win. And then hopefully either the Twins or the Rays represent the American League so that at least there's one team I feel comfortable rooting for, but it's going to be the Astros Dodgers.
Yeah. Well, and how cool would it be to have a Nationals Twins game, Senators versus Nationals?
Oh, yeah, that would be fantastic for anybody like us that enjoy the history. I mean, if you're just a fair weather fan, right. I mean, right now having Washington versus LA is fantastic if you're Major League Baseball.
Right.
Just from the market standpoint. So if you're looking to get people watching, tonight's baseball game was probably horrible. Oakland, Tampa Bay, small markets, smaller fan bases, not as nationally known. People were watching it maybe because it's baseball and it happened to be the only game on and it was a do or die game. But let's be serious. There weren't a whole lot of people out there getting excited if you weren't one of us, so to speak.
Yeah. Doug A has the best comment here. Braves Twins in a rematch from 91 almost 30 years later. That'd be pretty cool.
As long as it ends up the same.
Mine would be Houston. I told you this, guys, already. Houston, Atlanta, and Atlanta winning. Either one of those teams would win. That'd be fun to see. As much fun as it would be to see the Twins go to the World Series and lose, so we could watch that with Steph. That's also something I'd root for. And I'm always going to root for the Dodgers to go there to lose, so they could lose 3 World Series in a row. And us Giants fans can just love that. Oh, love those dumb Dodger fans. All right, MLB awards season's upon us, and I figured we'd hop in there real quick and give you some guys we think should win an MVP, Cy Young, and Rookie of the Year. So Ben, who is your NL MVP this year? Just real quick.
Yelich by a hair over Bellinger.
By a knee crack?
By a kneecap. I think he should still edge him out despite the fact that he lost, 3 weeks of the season.
Yep. Steph, who's your NL MVP?
Yelich.
Yeah, I went Bellinger just to be a little different, but either one of those guys is deserving of it. AL MVP, Steph. Can't be Joe Mauer.
Well, in my heart, I would say Estudillo and Luis Ariz, but you guys aren't expecting that from me. So, Soler's got a legitimate offer. Trout.
I just need who's your pick?
Bregman.
Ben?
I want to say Semien bad, but Bregman edges Trout for the same reason that Bellinger probably ends up eclipsing Yelich, because Bregman's season was that good and Trout missed some time. And really,
I said Trout just because he should be card number 1. He should always be the MVP. The guy's amazing.
I did read an article real quick earlier this week. They were talking about it almost looks like people are looking for reasons not to vote Mike Trout for MVP, because it's like, well, he shouldn't get it every year. And it's like, what if he's that good? He should just
Barry Bonds won how many? 7? And one was stolen by Jeff Kent and one was stolen by Terry Pendleton, or he would win 9 straight.
There was also a stat that says if Trout or Yelich were to win, that would have been the most missed games at the end of their team's respective season to still win. I think Dick Allen had the most, which was 6 games missed.
But what if they'd missed like that same amount of games throughout the year? right?
Yeah, so many stats are all arbitrary anyway.
But it's so stupid because say he missed 15 games, but what if he missed 3 games in 5 different times of the year? It's still 15 games he missed no matter what. He still put up the numbers.
I don't
Just because they all came together. That's what I don't understand. Anyway,
I kind of take it like the batting average when it's contested and you have a player who missed part of the season, they just tack on a bunch of zeros, and if you're still in the lead, hey, you have the batting title.
Well, or like when DJ LeMahieu won a few years ago and he sat the last game because he's a weak individual and he didn't want to lose the batting title. I don't recognize that batting title, or like DJ LeMahieu because of that. Punk. Like, really go out and play.
Are you having difficulty with the tongue tonight? Because
it's been a long week at work. I had someone break a $5,000 copy machine because they shoved the wrong staples into the machine, and that's when we needed to use the machine the most, and so that was
of course.
NL Cy Young winners. Ben, who's your NL Cy Young winner?
It's got to be DeGrom. I mean, nobody cares about the pitcher win anymore. And that's all due respect to everybody else that was not quite as good as DeGrom.
Steph, who do you have?
AL's so much easier. You can make arguments for Strasburg with the most wins in the league. DeGrom, his wins aren't nice, but he leads the league in strikeouts, and I think batters average against. No, sorry, Jack Flaherty does. But DeGrom.
Oh well, I went Strasburg, but you couldn't disagree either way. I think one of those two guys gets it this year. So AL Cy Young. Steph, who do you have?
So,
by the way, you and Ben are agreeing a lot tonight, which is scary.
Here's my pitch on why Verlander's a better Cy Young winner. Yes, he has an extra win. Yes, he has an extra loss. However, similar ERA, not 20 some odd strikeouts less, but he has a much better batting average against much less hits. All things equatable, Verlander's a better pitcher. Cole will be better for the future, obviously, but get that naked butt a Cy Young.
And obviously you went Verlander because Steph went Verlander, right, Ben?
I did. If there's ever a season where there should be co-Cy Youngs, this is the year. Verlander and Cole are that close.
Yeah. I just picked Cole to be different, so.
But to me, it's one of those things like in the Senate where the vice president has to become the 101st senator. It's that close where Verlander's 50, Cole's 50, somebody has to come in and break the tie.
I can't imagine these guys in a short series, though, and then you throw Greinke into that.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
And that offense.
I mean, is this not the best 3-man rotation since Maddox, Glavine, and Smoltz?
Yeah.
I mean, if the Diamondbacks had a third that could even come close, you could throw Schilling and Johnson in there.
Well, yeah, I mean, those guys single-handedly won that series. No one for the D-backs.
But it doesn't guarantee them anything. It doesn't mean that the Rays couldn't get to them, or the Yankees or Twins, or the Nationals. It gives them
a hell of an advantage. That's one advantage I'd love to go in with 3 stud aces in your rotation.
And that offense.
Oh,
it's one of those things like, just get us 3 runs and we'll be okay.
Where your worst probably productive offensive player is his name just fell out of my head. Josh Reddick, right?
Wait.
Where you look at their lineup and go, Josh Reddick's probably our worst offensive guy.
Well, and let's not talk.
He's still good.
Let's not forget that Wade Miley and Aaron Sanchez are their 4 and their 5, and those guys are pretty good. Not great, but pretty good. So they're deep and they're scary, and it's one of those ones that I think there was a stat the other day in an article on The Athletic where it said that the highest winning percentage predictive to win a World Series was the 2017 Astros since the advent of the wild card at 24%. And this year's Astros have a 32% chance of winning. That's ridiculous.
NL Rookie of the Year, I think we're probably unanimous on this.
Yeah.
Pete Alonso, the polar bear, right?
You can't break a rookie home run record that stood for 2 years
And have a pot belly. Love it.
and not get it on
He's
a
got
on
a
a
little-
miserable team, no less.
They were at least in playoff contention for a little bit. But he's got a little, and I give the Mets credit that they could have let him sit in AAA for part of the season to get an extra year out of him. That stupid deal. And they didn't. They brought him up. They let him come out and debut with a big club coming out of spring training, and he proved them right and had a great season.
But that's important for teams like the A's and the Rays and these small market teams to get that extra year. You know what's not important? If you're the damn New York Mets, act like you're a team in New York with New York revenues. You can afford to sign Pete Alonso to an extension 6 years from now. Should he?
This is the mess, right? Not the Mets.
No, I'm saying let the Mets eventually need to start acting like they're a
they never have
market.
They never have. The only they have is by just dropping tons and tons and tons and tons of money at people. Anyway, AL Rookie of the Year. I think we're probably unanimous here as well.
Are we though?
Well, I think Ben and I are in Yordan. Alvarez, the basher for the Astros. Steph, who do you have?
He is, but only because we called up someone way too late in the season for it to matter.
Who's that?
Yeah, sure. He had the RBI record in 45 games to Ted Williams, and yeah, sure, he's definitely helped the Astros supplant their position as the top in the AL. But how can you have someone who's 22 and for most of the season was batting .355 not get some consideration?
That Arias kid?
Indeed. Dude looks like Tony Gwynn at bat, rarely strikes out, rarely walks, and finished the season hitting .334.
Yeah, he was impressive.
If he would have started in April. But as is, yeah, Alvarez.
See, but the thing is, though, Alvarez, Alonso, it's the home runs that set them apart. And this year, there was a stat. Again, reading an article on The Athletic where they said more guys hit one home run or more this year than any other time in baseball. More guys hit 2 home runs than any other time. More guys hit 3 home runs or more. All the way up to 35 home runs.
Yep.
More guys hit 1 through 35 than any other time in Major League Baseball history. It's just all these home run records this year are extremely hollow. That's all.
As long as we keep the all-time record for the teams. Because I know Selig was talking about wanting to alter the ball so that they're a little bit less pop happy. Hey, I'm all for keeping the record.
Yeah.
I mean, I can admit it's absurd. The Twins went a span of from 1987 to 2006 without having a 30 home run hitter.
Well, the same
and this year, I think we had 8 or 9.
Well, look at the Royals though. I mean, their all-time home run for the most of the season was Moustakas a few years ago, 30 something, and this year Soler comes out and crushes 48.
Yeah.
So anyway, our buddy Mark Armour 04 on Twitter tweeted out his MLB team of the decade. I want to know what you guys think of this team. At catcher, you have Buster Posey. At first base, Joey Votto. Second base, Robinson Cano. Third base, Adrian Beltre. Shortstop, Francisco Lindor. In the outfield, you have McCutchen, Trout, and Betts. At DH, Miguel Cabrera. And then he listed his 5 starters as Kershaw, Verlander, Scherzer, Sale, and Greinke. Not a bad lineup.
There's not much of an argument there.
No.
I mean, maybe at shortstop, as I think someone pointed out, Andrelton Simmons as a fielder over Lindor, but Lindor has the talent, and he's slightly younger, I think, and has that face of MLB going on.
The only thing is, I would say that maybe over one of those guys, maybe Greinke, would be Bumgarner sliding in there, but
and maybe a slight edge over Beltre. In that he was older for most of the decade, but still a solid player.
Yeah.
Simmons over Lindor probably because Lindor didn't get the whole decade. Lindor being so young can have the 20s. Simmons is probably the best shortstop, I would think. And an argument could be made.
Simmons is not a Hall of Famer, though.
Yeah, but you're talking about a guy that's had a partial decade versus a guy that, and Simmons has been a fantastic defensive shortstop. I mean, I know we're splitting hairs here. Whether or not you could argue a different outfielder over McCutchen or Betts, there's probably a couple of other outfielders that would be on a short list. But outside of that, I don't know that you really can make an argument for taking anybody off, because then the question is, who do you put on? You know?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean,
do you put on Stanton as an outfielder? No.
Arenado over Beltre?
Maybe,
but Beltre was incredible defensively. I mean, yeah, the last couple of years, maybe not as much.
All-time personality.
Towards the end of his career, and again, we're talking about 2010 through 2019. So that's a big window. Do you put Goldschmidt over Votto? There's some arguments to be made, and a lot of it could come down to my preference versus your preference, right?
Sure. What even about Tulowitzki? I know he wasn't the best towards the end, but that early part of the decade, he was an offensive and defensive player.
Well, when did Machado come up? 2013?
No,
12, I think.
No.
Yeah.
He was drafted in
11.
Yeah, okay, yeah, he did come up in 12 then.
Well, yeah, because he was a free agent this year.
Yeah.
So he had to have 6 years in the majors.
Yeah, Machado made a 51-game debut in 2012.
You could argue Harper over Betts or McCutchen.
McCutchen's a little bit easier, sure. Well, Betts, he came up, 15, 16?
Yeah, and then Harper came up in 12. So if you're talking about the whole decade, again, we're not talking about I would take Harper over one, but you could argue Harper over one, especially considering his impact in Washington, and he put that team on the map, and Washington was competitive every year.
Yeah, I'd probably put Arenado over Beltre, because I know Arenado came up in 13. So he had most of the decade, and he's a hell of a bat and hell of a defensive player. But it's, again, you're splitting hairs on guys. So this team rolled out. If this team from the 2010s rolled out, you're going to win some baseball games.
Well, put it this way: you're not going to look at that lineup and go, "Oh, I have to have X over." I have to have Simmons over Lindor. I have to have Harper over Betts. I have to have Goldschmidt over Votto. Yeah. You can make arguments for certain players, yes.
Yeah,
and you wouldn't be wrong.
Yeah,
Freddie Freeman's would be a good comp to replace Votto. One of those two guys. Yeah. You're not going to miss much there. So,
I don't know that there's a better catcher than Posey, considering what he did in the postseason as well. And if you want to argue Molina, okay, I'd listen to Molina.
Selby.
Salvador Perez too.
Second base, there's probably not a better choice than Cano, but that's just because it's a weaker position and there's not as much depth.
And shortstop's hard because a lot of the talent came up in halfway through the decade. Correa came up, Lindor came up. So that's another problem there, is a lot of the studs, even Bogarts, they came up later in the decade. So
Dozier over Cano.
Dozier for a good part of that decade was a stud player.
He's already almost up to 200 home runs.
And if you look at the pitchers, guys like DeGrom have come on later over the last couple of years, so they don't have these guys don't have the resume that the 5 listed do.
Yeah.
The reason I would say Bumgarner over Greinke or any one of these guys is just also the postseasons that they had.
He had Bumgarner postseason only. I'd take Bumgarner over Kershaw.
Yeah, right. Kershaw honestly postseason. Like Matt Stafford honestly, when he's about to win a game.
If I was going to put Bumgarner on there, I would probably take off Sale before I take off Greinke. You don't think about Greinke, but when you start to look at his numbers, they are oddly impressive. Wait a minute.
He personally even though he did help us win the 2015 World Series and not even being on the team, so makes sense.
Right.
I thought it was an interesting debate. I was going to have us do our own teams, but I thought that'd just be a lot of minutia. I figured just talking it out. And
it's kind of fun to pick apart
I
his.
think,
And that's
I think Mark did a pretty good job.
it's
There's nobody on here
definitely.
where we blatantly go, "That's a stupid pick."
No, there's arguments to be made for most every position. I think that really outside of Trout, Kershaw, Verlander, and Scherzer, those are probably the only ones that are obvious. You can't. I mean, Cabrera, you can't take them off for somebody else. The rest you can make an argument, but it's a very short list of people.
You're talking one, maybe two guys.
Yeah.
All right, so Stanley Cup, we talked about this tonight. Hockey started. The puck dropped officially. So we'll Stanley Cup prediction. So I'm going to let Steph go last since he's our hockey guru. I'm going to lead off.
Hockey guru.
Well, you know more about hockey than we do.
State of hockey.
Yeah. Edmonton Oilers, my Edmonton Oilers, versus the Toronto Maple Leafs, with the Oilers coming away with Lord Stanley.
So, Tim, let me ask you.
Yes.
When's the last time a Canadian team has gotten to the Stanley Cup?
It's probably been quite some time.
Like 94, 93?
The Canadians in 93? Yeah, well, there's more teams in America than there are in Canada now.
But that's why your Oilers pick is trash.
Oh, well, hey, no big deal. If I was a gambling man, just real quick, the best odds to win by sportsbookwire.com, the Tampa Bay Lightning are at a plus 650. So that means if you bet $10, your return would be $65. But if you bet the same $10 on, say, the Ottawa Senators, who are 20,000 plus 20,000, that'd be $2,000. So the Golden Knights have the second best odds at plus 900. The Boston Bruins plus 1,000. Maple Leafs are plus 1,000, and Avalanche are plus 1,200. Those are the top 5 teams. My lowly Edmonton Oilers are plus 4,000. That's 23rd of the list. So Ben said it was going to be Pittsburgh, Washington. We said, Ben, that can't happen, bud. They're both East Coast teams.
I said Washington, Pittsburgh, and they're like, no, can't happen. So I said Pittsburgh, Washington. And they're like, no. I said then it was going to be an 8-game tie between Washington
and
Pittsburgh.
Then it just said Oakland A's.
And then I said A's.
And that's why the A's lost tonight.
I don't care about hockey. If I had to pick a team, like I said before, it'd always be Washington because of an old video game that I had randomly chose them in and used them for season after season.
All right.
So I'll say Washington, San Jose.
I like it.
San Jose is not a bad pick. But, as Tim will tell, they're prone to choking just a tad. I like the team.
By the way.
I like the team, but I don't see them getting that far.
You got to remember, though, as far as choking goes, most A's fans are also Sharks fans, so that comes up on my timeline a lot. So I see a lot of the choking, but hey, I know that San Jose and Washington aren't in the same division, so I get credit for that.
You do, but I'm a Minnesota sports fan. I haven't seen a title since I was 4 in one of the 4 major sports, the longest of any area with all 4 games. So, no,
what team did you see win?
The Twins in 91.
Oh, yeah.
I was 4. Indeed. Don't give me more reasons. But no, no, wasn't it Vegas and St. Louis and
it was Vegas and Washington.
St. Louis and Washington, yeah.
No, yeah, those are the last two. No, last year was Washington and Las Vegas, and I mean 18.
No, last year was St. Louis and Boston, wasn't it?
The year before was Washington and Vegas.
I'm mixing up my dates, but no, I like what Tampa Bay did last year. If they can choose, if they can play not to getting the number 1 overall spot as far as the President's Cup, it's kind of a curse in hockey. I like their chances to win over if I can scroll past Ben being a troll.
Really what this comes down to, Tim, is what if I was to predict a team, what would piss Steph off the most? That's who I want to go with.
The Dallas Stars.
Okay. Dallas, Colorado, maybe the Mighty Ducks, but not
Yeah,
really.
I want them all to win same time.
Winnipeg can go screw themselves.
Okay, well, that gives me like 4 or 5 options that if any of them win, I know it's been a good day.
No,
The last
I'm
time
going to go
a
Tampa
Canadian
over
team-
Colorado.
Last
1993.
Yeah, 93. And you're going who with what?
Tampa Bay over Colorado. I hate the Avalanche. We have a fierce rivalry, but I like the team. They have a lot of young talent, and they finally got rid of Patrick Waugh as their head coach.
And Mike Madonna
is currently with the Minnesota Wild, actually.
Say I know, guys.
You do.
All right. So anyway, I just thought it was fun. Here we go. Doug A says Vegas over Tampa in 6.
I can see that. Sure.
Go.
See, the issue is Vegas got, unlike Minnesota and Columbus when we came into the league in 2099 and Nashville in 97, they got an extremely beneficial draft class wherein the teams could only protect a certain amount of players, and it was much more beneficial than in years past. So they got stacked coming out of the draft. Now, yeah, sure, they were mostly cast-offs, but still they took what they got, and they have a good team.
Well, didn't they get the number 1 overall pick one year? Marc-Andre Fleury is their goalie, because wasn't he the first pick overall by the
5
Penguins
or 6?
1 point?
Somewhere in there? 6, 7?
Yeah. So I thought it was interesting. We'll talk a little hockey talk. I got a little taste for the hockey.
You have a bit of homework.
Hortons going through me.
You got a bit of homework, Tim, if you're accepting of it.
Oh, yeah. I learned names.
Slapshot, Goon.
Yes.
And
Slapshot.
Miracle.
Mighty Ducks. Yeah. Trash. Why do you think so my last topic tonight that we wanted to talk about is why do you think Topps Update rookie base cards are going crazy more than they have in the last few years? I mean, so if you look right now, just blowout here. And the reason I say blowout is because they are going to set kind of the price for boxes throughout of product. So, because a lot of people are going to them to buy product, and some shops are obviously LCSs are competing against blowout. But I was looking at the pricing of their pre-orders for 2019 Topps Update coming out on the 16th, so 2 weeks. And they had, of course, their website won't load here. They had hobby boxes going for hobby. Now this is the 30 or 24 pack now, whatever they are, boxes, and they were going for over $100, $109, $110 for normally what's probably a $50 to $60 box. A jumbo box going for $145. Which, those are going usually for 100 to say even 120 at high end when it gets released. So what do you think is causing people to really start to run down Topps Update base rookie cards?
So normally they lessen the production as far as Series 1 to Series 2 to update. Not from Series 1 to Series 2, but as far as update compared to those two, they run down the production slightly. And they try to keep the bigger name rookies in that set, even
but
to the
this
point
year, I mean,
depending on their debut.
Series 2 this year, you had Pete Alonso, Eloy Jimenez. There's a Vlad rookie in there, and there's also Tatis Jr.
Right.
You're not getting much bigger than that for update.
And I'm pretty sure Jordan is getting held to this 2020 Series.
Yeah,
1.
he and Bo Bichette because of their debut dates.
Right. But that's usually the arguments that people make, and Bowman. I mean, they're nice, but unless you have a top tier or it's autographed, most people don't care about the regular base cards. They want that first Topps release, that first RC logo card from a Series 1, Series 2, or update.
Ben, what do you think?
It's the Trout effect. People don't want to miss the boat on any of these guys, and that's really all it comes down to is that's going to be the desirable rookie card, and people are going to want to grab it just in case the next $20 card becomes a $500 card.
Yeah. So real quick, just to give you some rundown. So I was doing some closed completed sales that happened in the last week. So 2011 update, Mike Trout is going from about, and these are all ungraded, about 380 or more. Guess what? It books for like 600. But if you're looking for an ungraded Trout, they've been going for about 380 plus. And 2008 update, Clayton Kershaw is going for about 45 plus.
So you're saying that 3 of those that I have, I should sell.
Yes. 2013 update, Christian Yelich, going for about $22. Now that's been dipped down a little bit once he got hurt there for whatever dumb reason. 2018 update, Juan Soto is going for $15 plus now. About 2 weeks ago, that was like a $4 to $5 card. And then 2018 update, Acuna, the update card, is going for 25 plus. But if you have the Series 2 short print, they're going for 350 plus raw. So my thought is there's either the missing there's a couple factors I look into this. So the missing the next big Trout card. There's also what I believe are that collectors that can't get first Bowman, because again, one of the go-to cards is the first Bowman and stuff talked about auto, and I just think that those prices are out the roof on a lot of these guys now. Easily. And collectors are finally going back and going, what's a collectible card I can pick up of a guy? And it's a base rookie card, because they've seen that. And I've been preaching this as long as we've had the show longer, that the heart of collecting that we all started collecting was those base rookie cards, right? Whether they were traded, updates, whatever, you had a base rookie card. Those are the cards you wanted of the players in the 50s through the 90s. That's what you're hunting. And I think people are coming back to that going, God, that's a good value even at $20. I'll track that down versus spending, $2, $3, $4, $5,000 on an autograph of a guy that, you look now, the Chris Bryant first Bowman autos, the ones from 2004, not 13, they're like $200.
Yep.
And they were $500, $600, $800 2 years ago.
One thing
is
to
he
keep
that
in mind,
much off of is he that more terrible of a player than he was then? No.
One thing to keep in mind too is the static versus fluidity of the fact that if I go out and buy a Soto rookie card for $15 now, it's got the chance to appreciate considerably, potentially, but it's probably never going to be that much cheaper than $15. So I'm always going to feel like my money was well spent. So not only is it affordable by comparison, when you talk about these Wander Franco first Bowman cards that are selling for $2,000 fresh out of the packs on release day that are now $400, it's like the volatility of the first Bowman autos are just so drastic on the sliding scale, where these update rookie cards are going to at least hold a considerable portion of their value. We've talked about that before, is if you buy a Mickey Mantle card for $100, you're probably always going to get your $100 bill back, at least within reason. And that's probably going to be indefinite. If we're not considering adjusting for inflation and whatnot, 5 years from now, you'll still get a $100 bill for it. And I think that's why the update rookie cards or base rookie cards are a little bit more desirable, because they're A, affordable, and B, they're a little bit more static, and there's not as much of a drastic range in between their appreciation and depreciation values.
That's pretty fair.
Yeah, we've talked about this before, you look at of the first Bowman, you compare Joey Bart to Buster Posey. Buster Posey's first Bowman, and the man has 3 World Series rings. We talked about this: Rookie of the Year, MVP, batting title, All-Star appearances. We probably the catcher of his decade, and they were going for 200 to 250. And you have Joey Bart's first Bowman. They're going for like $600-$700, and the guy's done nothing but be the number 2 pick in the draft.
Not even the number 1 pick, and
maybe look to be the future. But yeah, I'm just saying. To me, that's nuts, right? Because it's like you have a guy that's on a list to be a Hall of Famer, and a guy that has played the minor leagues for a year and a half.
That's because collectors are in on the Posey and prospectors or speculators are in on the Bart. That's all it really comes down to.
But is he going to, like, the thing is, though, even if he had the career Buster Posey had, he has the exact same career. He wins three World Series for the Giants. He's a Rookie of the Year. He's an MVP, wins a batting title. He goes to numerous All-Star games. He's the catcher of a decade. So that $600, $700 card is going to come back to $200, and like that's what I don't understand. Is like, it's that to me is what's so crazy about this. I just wish I could talk to the people that are spending that kind of money on say Joey Bart, and say, why are you investing this type of money into a guy when you can go out and buy a certified Hall of Famer for? You could get 3 of the same card of that Hall of Famer as you can one of this prospect guy. Even if he has the same career for the same team and does exactly the same things, is he going to be 3 times better? No, because he did the same. They had the same accomplishments in their career, right?
But it's not. That's the thing is you're asking from a collector's perspective, asking somebody that's a speculator. Why would you do that? Well, because they think that $600 card is going to be worth $1,200, and then they're going to cash out.
But why is that, though? I'm just my point is my example on that is Buster Posey. So if you compared him exactly to that,
right,
you're just taking that money and just lighting it on fire.
And that's what you're doing. And every time I say something to that effect on Twitter, I've been called out by certain people. Oh, well, it's a fluid hobby. Yeah, no kidding. I'm not saying it's not a fluid hobby. I understand economics just fine. I'm saying it's asinine. I'm not saying that I don't understand it. I'm saying I don't understand the premise behind it. Why would you buy something at a multiplier of 4, 8, 12 times what it should be just because other people have and have inflated this price? There's no way Joey Bart can live up to that.
Yeah.
Not when you have somebody who's established like Buster Posey, who's a potential Hall of Famer, as we've said, that is probably the catcher of his decade. At the very least, you're only going to be able to argue 2 or 3 other players against him. He's got 3 World Series rings, and he's selling at 300% less. Excuse me? Why? Because it's a fluid hobby, and this is what's great about the hobby that people are interested in Joey Bart. No, most people that are buying probably don't know who he is. They're buying because other people are buying, and they're seeing.
He's the LA Gear of tennis shoes.
Yeah, he's turning my $600 into $2,000. The problem is there's no guarantee of that, and you'd be much better off dispersing that $600 elsewhere. Like I mean, you could buy $600 cards that are going to end up turning into $5 cards, and you turn $600 into $3,000.
That's exactly to what Colin Sports Card Radio said. You're better off to do that and sit there and flip dollar cards all day long. And I feel the same way. I was in Teammates this week, and I bought 35, 37 Shohei Ohtani rookie cards from Chrome, from Topps, or from Flagship, from Stadium Club, from Archives, Finest, over a bunch of different brands of Topps releases for $1 a piece. Last year at this time, that was a $6 to $8 card,
right,
on average. He gets back there. I understand he had another season-ending surgery, but he gets back to that level, or even half of that level, and it's a $4 card. That's 3 times. I'm gonna turn that $35 into $100.
Well, see, and worst case scenario, you should always be able to probably cash out at $1 a piece and at least break even.
Or in worst case, if it goes to a 50-cent card, okay, no big deal. I lost 50% of $35.
Yeah, you're not out that much money. You're out a trip. If you and I went out to lunch,
I'm out for a 7-Eleven trip. My buddy
Yeah,
Matt.
you and I go out to lunch tomorrow. We're going to spend a $20 bill at McDonald's. At McDonald's, right?
Yeah.
You
That's a lot of French fries. By the way, did you see that the Japanese ad with McDonald with shirtless Ronald McDonald
yeah.
and the fries
No,
and
but- I mean, out here in California, an extra value meal, a medium extra value meal at McDonald's or Carl's Jr. and Burger King is going to cost you $9 to $10.
Yeah.
So if for two people, it's going to cost you $20. So if you spend $40 on these cards and you lose half your value, you're literally out one trip for two to Carl's Jr. McDonald's, no big deal. The thing is, if the point that I've made in the past about Mason Rudolph and Daniel Jones and other people, and have been called out for this position that I don't see anything wrong with it. No, the issue is you're not buying them at $1. You're waiting until tomorrow when these become $8 cards, $15 cards for no reason other than circumstances have changed. And a lot of times, not every time, but a lot of times you're either buying at the ceiling or above the ceiling. And then all of a sudden, when it comes crashing, that bubble burst, so to speak, you're going to lose a lot of money. And that's what's going to happen.
Panic sale.
Yeah. Wander Franco at $2,000. Do we really think that that's going to be a sustainable amount for that player? No. And now a lot of those cards are dropped down to 300 to 500. Now, wait a minute.
Well, and the thing is that it's the one, even if he became like, say, Derek Jeter, it's the team he plays on. Nobody collects the Rays.
Right.
If Wander Franco was a Yankee, that'd be a $5,000 card all day long as a prospect for the Yankees because they would look at him as the next Jeter.
Sure.
Your money to me is better off if you were going to say we were talking about that $600 earlier, and you put $600 in the Mickey Mantle cards, or Hank Aaron cards, or Willie Mays cards. You're not going to lose that money, especially Mantle. He can't do anything right now. He's dead. We all know he was a philanderer and a drunk and all those fun things, but there's nothing else he can do in his life to change what his card values are only going to go up.
Well, and then the other point too that there are people out there that are kind of missing on this is if everybody is all of a sudden buying the new flavor of the week that Baskin Robbins has presented to us, the new backup quarterback who's elevated into a starting role, and the new prospect that just got called up from the minors, or the number 1 or number 2 overall pick that's now featured in Bowman Draft. What's happening is everybody that's buying them are the ones that want them. So when you go to resell them, to find a buyer is going to be much more difficult because most of the people that are in that market have already acquired one. So you don't have anybody to sell it to. That's the epitome. And when people are like, what happened with the junk wax era? We all thought that these players were going to be great, and we can name them all, right? But if I have 10 Kevin Moss cards and I go to sell them to you, Tim, and you have 10, and then I go to sell them to Steph and you have 10, you guys aren't buying them. And the problem is we all had 10 of them, but we didn't have 10. We had 50 of them.
Yeah, 100 of them.
And that's the problem is you didn't have a buyer. We all thought we were going to be millionaires. The problem was we were devoid of that secondary buyer because we were all our own buyers.
All doing it. Yeah, and that's the thing. And two is I love when these, and I want to get Steph's opinion here in a second. I've been dipping back into basketball, and I've said to myself, I'm only going to collect Panini Prism basketball cards. One, I like shiny things, but I've gone back, and Jason Tatum had a down year last year. I've been picking up his Prism cards for like $5-6, and all the last couple of days, and some Trae Youngs for like $5 or $6. And I picked up some De'Aaron Foxes for like $8 or $9. And the big thing is that these are as the season begins, these guys are going to have, I think, good years. But at the same time, during the season of their rookie years, those cards were about double that price. And they were having good years and they were talked about. And I have a feeling, they get back to there. That's always a time to go back and to collect those guys is a year or 2, 3, 4, 5 years later. Now, the problem is if you have a Giannis that comes through, right now, all of a sudden that rookie card of his that was maybe $15 is now like $600. But a majority of the time, that scenario doesn't happen. So,
there are ways to accurately and successfully speculate. Some that we've thrown out here, some that you may be partaking in that I, for one, don't, because I just don't have a desire to. But there are good ways that you could, and I'm sure that you know. Again, it goes back to don't prospect and speculate on guys like Daniel Jones and Dwayne Haskins. Those aren't the right guys. Those are on everybody's radars because they're first round pick. You know, it's the guys in the second, the third, the fourth round, the guys that are like the Gardner Minshews that, hey, Nick Foles has an injury history and has had lightning in a bottle a couple of times in his career, but overall has had the guy was on the verge of retiring at one point when he was with the Chiefs. You know, I mean, that doesn't mean that Minshew is going to be the next coming. And even though he's had some success, doesn't mean that he's going to keep up a 7-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. But he would have been the guy to buy during training camp and just say, hey, if he's got anything out there, you're going to get it for pennies. And if the guy so much as takes a snap in the NFL, it's going to appreciate enough to where you're going to be able to flip it for a quick profit.
Yeah.
There are ways to speculate. You just got to be smart about it.
Steph, real quick, what are your thoughts on this whole thing?
That's mostly the reason why I, for the most part, I don't try to dip my toe in the water as far as flipping stuff because, one, I just don't have enough time in the day, and I don't care to sit and memorize all 400 rookies that are coming into the draft class. There are certainly ways to go about it, but the most that I do personally is, hey, this is someone's dime box, and they have a numbered to not 2019, but numbered to 500 in here, or numbered to 199. Okay, but if I can take that, dump it on eBay or ComC or wherever, and sell it for $1, I made 90 cents. That's what I'll do.
Yep.
Props to those that can do it. It's not me.
Real quick, as we end the show tonight, Cardboard Icons is celebrating his boy's birthday tonight at the A's game, and he sent out a cool tweet. He's really big about picking up game used balls. He wanted to thank the Oakland A's and the Athletics Authentication for hooking him up. Well,
yeah, and he'd written out a post saying that, it took him 30-some-odd years to go to an A's playoff game, but due to circumstances, him and his son were able to go on his 9th birthday.
Yeah,
and to get a foul ball purchased from the Stadium Authentics. That's really cool.
Yeah, that's always awesome.
Props, Ben.
Yeah, happy birthday to Tony.
Yep. So,
awesome.
Well, guys, any final thoughts as we head out this evening?
Not really. Go Twins.
Now hit us up on Flickr chat and some good topics on there.
Yeah,
some good conversation, and it's kind of like a message board forum, so that if you post something, everybody who is signed up and connected with us will be able to see it and chime in, and it's a active, fluid conversation. So
yeah, there's some fun topics in there too.
Yeah,
we continue that. So
I'm always looking to add more fun topics.
Remember, we're live every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Pacific.
10 Central.
Make sure to subscribe and review our show on all platforms. Follow us on Twitter at About the Cards. Follow Ben at Our Trading Cards. Follow Steph at Junkwax Twins. You always follow me at Big Shep 79. Please share your hobby stories, great pulls, and send your questions our way. Guys, keep collecting. We'll talk to you next week.
Let's do it.